my time with the SP-404 has made me realize that this is a very unique and very capable device. I don't see any devices like this. It's a very powerful, self-contained, I would say, box. But I have some small improvements, I guess, that I would say will make it even better. So a small note, as someone that works in product, I understand that in some cases, the end users, like myself, use cases are not always the intended behavior. And very often what I would see as an end user as an issue or some sort of bug or actually expected behavior. So in this video, I just wanted to talk about my own personal ideas and use cases. So one cool improvement I would say would be separate BPM or tempo for each pattern sequence. So for instance, for in here, bank C is for me at 90 BPM. So every single sequences here are at 90 BPM. But for bank H, it is at 116. Now, the way I kind of work on the SP-404 is that I don't necessarily use sequences as kind of a song, meaning that, let's say a song has 16 sequences, but this is, I guess, just me. I'll go deeper into this in kind of a video about my workflow on the SP-404. So in this case, having 1 BPM per bank kind of, I guess, limits the amount that I can do. So for instance, this bank H is now 116 BPM. So if I would like to record something in bank H, let's say here, and I change the BPM, let's say 80, and I record something, let's say, so my 80 BPM is now here, but what I had at 116 is now then also forced to go to the new BPM, which is 80. So yes, it will be cool to have kind of be able to separate the BPM of each sequences. Alright, so the next one, I think this is a pretty cool thing that kind of already exists, but is a little bit complicated to kind of work around it. And that is having a dedicated channel for the external input. I have this little DJ app to kind of demonstrate this, but you don't need to have a DJ app. You can any sort of external input. But for the SP-404, if I would like to adjust the incoming signal of the external source, what I can do is I can go into the menu, shift external input, then I can adjust this. Now, I think when you are kind of recording stuff, I think this might be useful. But what I was thinking is that in sort of like a DJ setup or in sort of like a live performance setup, it would be cool to have this right here under pattern edit. And then because this also seems a little bit weird that there is only one channel here. So perhaps this menu, this level, shift and input setting can be right here. Just the faders. And it will also maybe be media assignable, so it will be easier. So for instance, the ideal use case I would say is this will be like a Technics or like an Audio Technica. So let's say I have this and I would like to kind of blend another track with it. So now I have the 2 tracks. Of course, from there, what you can do, you can always do the EQ and stuff like this. But I would like to remove one. So let's say I'm mixing out of what is coming in into what I'm kind of already inside of the SP-404. So now all I have to do is I have to go into the shift and then external menu to change the volume. It would be cool to kind of like have this media assignable and then, you know, faders. But now in order for me to kind of move this, I'm going here. So yes, that would be kind of a cool, I think, cool adjustment or features because I think that will make the SP-404 kind of like a mixer, kind of a full mixer in a sense, because I can mix in incoming signals. Now, another improvement that would be great is still in relation to the DJ mode, but I think because of the wording DJ mode, perhaps there is some ideas that DJ mode is mixing songs together like other songs. But for me, the way I see DJ mode is more of a performance feature, whether it is inside of the SP-404 or just mixing other things in. I see it more as like a performance kind of performance. And I personally spend a lot of time in the DJ mode because I do like making beats, but then I also like performing the beats. So another thing that would be cool for the DJ mode, I think, would be the ability to assign channel 1 and 2 to a pattern sequence. Because right now, if I would like to add a song to channel 1 and 2, these songs can only be samples for the most part. Now, on the SP-404 Mark II, the DJ mode, the sequences are only accessible in this pattern edit option, which brings the third channel. But the main issue that I see in this is that, for instance, so I have this, and I would like to, let's say, transition to this sequence. Unfortunately, to kind of do like flawless transitions between like sequences, it's a little bit complicated. So the best I can do is just play the sequence after the other. So now I'm playing these sequences, but it would be cool, I think, if I can add these two sequences to these first channel 1 and 2, so that I can kind of DJ mix, let's say, the sequences as well. So I can mix out of the sequence that is on this bank, and then I can mix in the sequences from this bank. That would be a cool feature as well. I think that's kind of cool. All right, so these are some of the few improvements that I can think of right now. I think these are kind of, I would say, maybe specific to me. What do you think about these? I personally believe that these will kind of make the SP-404 a little bit more. But while I have you here, and hopefully Roland is going to see this video though, I wanted to talk about bugs. There are a few bugs that I personally have noticed. So the first one, pad mute when you are in the DJ mode. So I have this sequence. Now, these are some of the samples that I have, but as you probably know already, to mute some parts, let's say this is the kick, and I would like to mute the kick. As you probably know, I go to shift and reverse, and then I can mute. I can stay in mute mode. And then I can mute and unmute stuff as I go. In the DJ mode, mute does not work. So for instance, I have my sequence still. Now this is a little bit tricky because when you are in pattern sequence, so in the DJ mode, the DJ mode is kind of a sub menu. So this is the main menu when you are in the DJ mode. You go to pattern edit to access the third channel, and then you go to pattern select to access the pattern sequences. But within the pattern sequence, you cannot necessarily access the elements that are in the pattern sequence like regularly. If you go back to pattern select and you do hold, then you are directed to where the kind of samples that are playing are. You can see that they are lighting up as the sequences plays. But unfortunately, under this hold menu, you can do the shift and reverse to mute to show at least the mute menu. now I'm supposed to not hear the kick. The kick is still playing. Although I am in the menu because the pads are white. And then as I'm playing, there is a visual feedback muting J13, yet J13 is not muted. And the pad is also showing that it should be muted as it's red, but nothing is muted. So yes, that is kind of a bug that I noticed. It's a little bit weird sometimes when you're kind of playing and things are not being muted. Another bug, I have like 3 of these, I think. Still, in comparison to the DJ mode, because DJ mode is right, man. Let's say I have this sample. Now on the SP-404, in case you didn't know, if you go to Shift Rec, you enter the TR record mode, and then you choose let's say you choose a sample. This one. If you hold solo, if you press the home pad, it will solo what you've selected. This time I've selected this, which is the main sample. If I choose this, and then it will only solo that. You see, there is an indication solo off. That doesn't work in the DJ mode. So let's say I will go back to the DJ mode. I will choose my pad, my pattern. I go to Shift Rec, choose my pad, this pad. I hold solo. You see, the visual is there, solo on, solo off, yet everything is still playing. That's a little bit of kind of inconsistent thing. A third, what is the third? Have a few of these, man. Let's say I have this sequence. If I enter the record theoric mode again, and I go to the sub pad, and I would like to select other songs or other samples that I would like to play or add to this, I can press the sub pad, and then I can choose. So let's say this. No, of course, when you're playing, I guess, a live or kind of recording or something like this, you don't want people to hear that you're auditioning your songs or your samples. So one thing you can do, hopefully also this helps, is that you can press the sub pad and then the push button. And then you're able to select your pad without it being heard. So for example, I select 12. There is also a visual indicator here on the screen. So you see J11 because I select 11, J12 because I select 12. And of course, the pad that you select also kind of blinks as I'm choosing, kind of blinks. So then I can just enter my sequence, let's say this. So it kind of, you can audition your samples without people necessarily hearing it. It doesn't work in DJ mode. So I have my the same sequence, and I go here, same sub pad and push. It does this weird thing because it does this kind of contradicting visual. So right now, if I select, let's say this pad 9, you see there is this visual that says J9, yet the indication here remains on the previous one. So J9, it doesn't change, it's still in J12, but J9 does not get picked. And the blinking, which is kind of the selecting indicators, also is not showing. It's still on J12, even if I choose J9, 1, 2, 3. And of course, this results in my my sample being picked as whatever this is, which is the 12, then you can always, if you don't push the enter, then you can always select your own pads, but the people aren't going to hear that you're auditioning sounds. So yes, that's all. A few ideas, personal ideas for me at least. But let us know, man, if you have some ideas. Maybe you also have some tricks or tips on kind of how to overcome these improvements or these bugs. Feel free, let us know in the comments. But yes, like I said, the improvements that I was kind of reporting, they were specific to my use case. Of course, everyone has perhaps different use cases that might not apply to all of this, but these were mine only, I would say. Like I said, it's mostly into the DJ mode, because DJ mode for me is an incredible performance feature of the SP-404. It's not about DJing, kind of the word DJing, but it's performing. For the bugs, the main thing about the bugs that kind of weird is that it's more about kind of the feature not being like fully consistent, because it works in like the regular mode, but it doesn't work under the kind of other mode. So yes, these were my thoughts, bugs. Let's have a discussion about this. Feel free to share your thoughts, and yes, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.